By Glazer and Associates. The views and opinions expressed in this content do not reflect those of 850 WFTL.
And on the YouTube channel, our Condo, Craze, and HOAs YouTube channel, I'm Karen Curtis, and I'm here again today with attorney Eric Glazer from Glazer & Sachs, PA. Eric is board certified by the Florida Bar in Condominium and Plan Development Law. He has a firm with attorneys in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. And we'd love to get the phone lines going early. I know a lot of you have been wanting to talk to Eric, so now's your chance. Or you can chat on our YouTube channel in the chat box. Ask any question you have regarding HOAs, condos, community association law, whether you're a resident or on the board or plan to be on the board, no matter where you are in the state, the country, the world. Give us a call toll-free, 877-850-8585. Again, that's 877-850-8585. Or visit us on the Condo, Craze, and HOAs channel on YouTube and ask your question in that chat box. Eric.
Karen, I think by now I'm a board-certified nephrologist also, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
Unbelievable. Guys, if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, like Karen says, of course, the Condo Craze YouTube channel. You can not only watch the show live, but if you missed the show, all of our prior shows are up there. You can just click on it and watch it at your convenience. And number two, subscribe to our email list. Very important. Go to condocrazeandhoas.com and join. By each week, you can get announcements about the show, about our seminars, about changes to the law. You'll get copies of our newsletters and a lot more. And, of course, we do a blog every single Monday morning. It's 10 years now at hoa-condoblog.com. And tomorrow's topic, can your association prevent you from leasing your unit? Part 2. This time we talk about HOAs. Okay, a lot to talk about. 1 week 8 condos, 1 week HOAs. Some big changes on the law recently happened.
What about a Airbnb in an HOA?
Well, that's the whole idea. Changes to the law that try to prevent that from happening.
Got it.
So, yeah, that's exactly what we blog about.
Okay, so, hey, Eric, welcome back.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
How am I feeling? It has been quite a ride, guys, the last few weeks.
Oh, my God.
Kidney stones again, and this is like my 6th time, and this time was more problematic, though. I was actually in the hospital for a week. You know, you want to feel better, don't go to the freaking hospital.
Ah, that's true. I hear that.
They don't leave you alone, and it was just a bad experience in the hospital, let's put it that way. And I wound up needing something called a nephrostomy, which is a tube coming out of the side of your body,
Lord.
plugged into your kidney, which drains into a bag. And as we speak, I still have that. So just know, everybody, it's how devoted I am to the show.
Wow.
I'm sitting here.
Can we see it?
That's too ugly to see. I don't think anybody wants to see it. I mean, I can do it, but no, I don't think I want to put it up
oh, my
there.
goodness, I'm just kidding.
And then on Friday, I had something called a lithotripsy, and that's where they put you under and they send shock waves smashing into your kidneys, hoping to break up the kidneys that are still there.
The stones.
Right, and I was told that went well.
Oh,
but,
good.
You know,
so they pulverize the stones, and then you just pass them, and it's over.
But in the
But you
meanwhile,
keep making
obviously
stones?
isn't over yet. I still have
Oh.
this freaking tube, so hopefully that'll be taken out sometime later this week. We will see.
Where do you stand now? Do you keep making new stones, or these old stones? I mean, what's
I
happening?
need a CAT scan to make sure they're gone.
When does the tube come out?
Yeah, and if the CAT scan shows there's no more, then we take the tube out. My fingers are crossed. Just know, everybody, I'm glad to be back. I'm really upset about missing the opportunity to teach classes
I'm
at
sure.
the L&L Condo and HOA Expo.
Hey.
Yeah, there's one tomorrow in Orlando. The plan originally was to do the show today and then drive up to Orlando, but I can't do that. I can't teach it tomorrow, but I do have my fingers crossed that I will be able to teach the one in Tampa that's in about 2 weeks on October 27th. So I do look forward to meeting everybody in Tampa. It's always such a wonderful trip. And one more housekeeping matter before we get going. We were supposed to be on 60 Minutes tonight.
Right.
But unfortunately, I get an email that due to events in the Ukraine, believe it or not,
Really?
we were bumped out of tonight's spot. They need to do a spot on what's going on in the Ukraine.
No, they just want this bombshell to hit before the November midterm elections.
You know what? I'll keep my mouth quiet on that. I don't know. Maybe they want it to be pushed close to the election. I don't know. All I know is I was told the Ukraine bumped us out of tonight's spot, and I'll certainly let everybody know when the Florida condominium episode will be aired. And, of course, it should be in the near future, maybe next week. We will see.
I can't wait. I
Yeah,
cannot wait.
Me too. Me too.
Oh, it's going to be so good. We should have a watch party.
Right, exactly.
Really?
That's a good idea. Maybe we'll do that. That's right.
You'd
You know
have
what?
so many people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
By the way, Eric, you know that we haven't done a show since Hurricane Ian hit the southwest part of Florida. That's how long it's been.
It's been that long, but before we go down that route, it's been an amazing legal week here in South Florida, and I just want to say that my hearts really go out to the parents in Parkland. Of course, they wanted the death penalty for what happened to their children, and you think about it, if there ever was a case that cried out for the death penalty, this is the one. What other case can you possibly imagine that would be more heinous than this one, that would get the death penalty? If this doesn't get it, what does? But I spoke to a friend of mine who's a judge, and his attitude was, let me tell you something, life in prison without the possibility of parole, that is no piece of cake either. That is a terrible sentence. You could
Especially
lose your
if you're in
mind.
Gen Pop.
Exactly. I mean, this guy is going to have to watch his. My parents said this. One parent stood up and said this and said, I could live with it, basically, because this guy is going to have to watch his back literally every step of the way, and eventually he's going to get his, probably many times over.
Like Dahmer.
Like Dahmer did, right. So to the parents, again, my heart goes out to you, but I think if you sit back for a moment and think about it, life in prison without parole, man, I know you're thinking that, hey, he's going to get 3 meals a day, he's going to get medical care. You can't think about it that way now, because think about it that way, it'll make you go crazy. Think about the fact that this guy's going to have to look over his back every second of his life for the rest of the way, and he's still a young kid. And you know what? Don't be surprised if what Karen says is right if he winds up like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, and it just irritated me that one person could say no, that it's his mom's fault for poisoning him in the womb.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't get it.
We don't know 100% if it's one person. And afterwards, it went a little. It might be 2. It might be 3 from the reports that what I heard. So I don't know if it's just one person. But the bottom line is, Karen, this is the system we have.
I think it's broken. I don't think death penalty. You will be able to, if this guy doesn't get it. He said he was guilty. He premeditated it, and he still doesn't get it. I don't understand.
Listen, it used to be in Florida where a simple majority, 7-5 vote,
unanimous,
would have resulted 7-5.
Well, they were unanimous that he deserved the death penalty, that the state had met their burden.
But there were some mitigating
then
factors.
they said the mitigating
the
factors.
Mitigating factors. So again, our hearts go out to the parents. No one can imagine what they went through, and I understand their grief right now. The only thing I could say to them is, life in prison without parole. That's
bad news.
That's terrible.
I just have one question for you as an attorney.
Yeah.
When the defense, remember they were going to call 80 witnesses and they only called 25, and the judge went ballistic.
Yep.
Why would they do that unless they knew that they had 1, 2, or 3 people that were going to say that they had?
Sometimes, I'm not saying defense.
Something doesn't smell right.
Sometimes, you'll make a list of all these witnesses. You'll put all these witnesses out there, hoping that the other side will just say, oh, my God, I'm not going through something like this. I'm not going to go through 80 witnesses. I'm not going to go sit here for a year. Okay, let's just settle this case.
They meant to just do 25 anyway.
Right.
Got it.
Now, am I saying that happened? No.
I see.
But I'm saying that sometimes you make the witness lists bigger to intimidate the other side. Sure you do.
Thank you.
Of course, happens all the time. All right, so moving on a little bit. Our hearts and prayers also go out, of course, to everyone who lost a loved one or lost their home or property as a result of Ian. And the images, of course, are simply hard to believe. And some of the insurance company losses are coming in, and the figures are coming in, and the figures are simply staggering. Think about this. Ian is estimated to cause an insurance and reinsurance industry loss of between $28 billion and $47 billion just from wind and storm surge in Florida, according to CoreLogic. And according to other industry experts, Hurricane Ian is the costliest Florida storm since Andrew 30 years ago. I mean,
and you know
unbelievable.
What? Many people don't have flood insurance, and that was the big problem.
Right, exactly.
So in addition,
if you don't have it and your damage is caused by rising waters, you have a problem.
You're on the hook.
Yeah, you have a big problem.
So in addition to windstorm damages, it's estimated that there's been between $6 billion and $15 billion of storm surge losses. According to CoreLogic's post-landfall analysis of the storm, almost 20,000 residential properties are estimated to have been affected by the Cat 4 storm, and the Cat 4 storm force winds surge in the stretch coastline from Cape Coral to Fort Myers.
Yeah, now think 20,000 homes got hit by Category 4 winds. It's hard to believe. Get this number. They also suggest that as many as 887,000 properties, think about what I just said, nearly a million properties have been affected by at least Category 1 winds or storm surge for me, and that's unbelievable. Think about 1 million claims being submitted to insurance companies. It's staggering.
To the handful of insurance companies left.
Yeah.
And don't you think that the insurance companies went ahead and insured those people on the West Coast because they were less likely to get a storm than us over here?
Yeah.
Because you had to go with Citizens.
I had to go with Citizens, believe it or not.
You know what I mean? And and then they got hit.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. So what in the world is going to happen to our insurance rates now? I mean, all of us are going to end up paying for this. And they were already, tripling and quadrupling. And that was before Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, not to get involved in politics, but we have elections coming up in like 3 weeks. And Charlie Crist has a commercial out there that says he's going to take on the big insurance companies and help lower rates. I don't know how he's going to do that when there's already only a handful of companies that were selling insurance in Florida.
You're going to threaten other countries around the country to not come here?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. And now there's going to be Citizens, and perhaps that's it. So how is threatening the big insurance companies going to work? Now, the only way you can really take on the big insurance companies is to say, hey, guess what, guys? We're not going to let you sell auto insurance here. You go to State Farm, you go to Allstate, and you say, that's it. You guys are prohibited from selling auto insurance in the state of Florida unless you also sell home insurance.
You have to bundle.
Yeah. Now, good luck with that.
You have to bundle.
So I think what they would say is, okay, we won't sell it anymore.
Oh,
thanks.
my gosh.
Yeah, thanks for the offer, Charlie, but
I don't know. We've got some expensive cars down here and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And, people don't drive in New York, so what the heck? Yeah. That would be a problem. And we don't have much mass transportation, as you know.
Right.
But if we do that, won't our car insurance rates then go up?
Of course.
Come on.
Exactly. Yes. So we'll force us to sell home insurance, but the car insurance rates will triple. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the flood insurance program, just to tell everybody, the flood insurance program is a national program, meaning all the states share the risk of flood claims. But that's not how it works with hurricanes, however.
Really?
Floridians, we bear the risk entirely of hurricanes in Florida, where the risk is spread for flood claims among the 50 states. And,
why?
Some argue the only real way that this gets fixed is if Congress would make windstorm insurance a national program as well, just like they do with flood, and therefore the risk gets spread and then insurance rates would go down. But, people all over the country don't want to pay for hurricanes that happen.
Especially for Florida.
In Florida, right. That's exactly right. Exactly. So we're stuck paying the flood insurance claims, though.
So wait, wind or flood?
We pay. We are part of the National Flood Insurance Program.
Okay.
So we pay for everybody.
Pay their floods.
Somebody floods in Tennessee.
Got it.
We pay for it. Right.
Okay.
But it doesn't work that way with hurricanes.
But if wind blows something down over here, we're on our own.
Correct.
Got it. All
Floridians
right.
insure themselves. That's exactly right.
And I'm sure that there are others that say, I don't want the government in charge of my health insurance, and I don't want them in charge of my property insurance, and shouldn't be in my insurance business whatsoever.
Yeah, no question. A lot of people feel that way, too. I don't want the government involved in my insurance now. And we'll just have to wait and see how the market works itself out when it comes to insurance.
It's too late. They already involved with Obamacare.
Yeah, but, when you look at Florida specifically, think about this. When you factor in mandatory fire sprinklers and engineered life safety systems for high-rise condos. I'm just reminding everybody what's coming. Mandatory Phase 1 and Phase 2 inspections by an architect or engineer after 25 or 30 years and every 10 years thereafter. Mandatory repairs after 25 or 30 years. Mandatory reserve studies by an architect or engineer. Mandatory full funding of reserves. And now insurance rates that are again, as a result of Ian now, are expected to at least double. The condo market in Florida is about to be shaken to its absolute core, and it's going to be real tough for many people to hold on. It's amazing things are coming, and that's exactly why 60 Minutes is doing the show. But like always, we want to know what our listeners think. Give us a call right here in the studio. So glad to be back. 877-850-8585, 877-850-8585, or type your question in the chat box on the
Yeah.
Condo Craze and HOAs
Lines
YouTube
are
channel.
full.
We will be back right after this.
There are very
Lines
large
are full.
management companies.
Oh no! An unexpected leak. Jay, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Here on WFTL, Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer. He specializes in community association law. Let's get to the phones, Eric.
Absolutely. All right, let's take first call of the day. Barry in Miami. How are you, Barry?
Hey, Barry.
Glad to hear you.
Good, Karen. Good to hear your voice, Eric.
Thank
Glad
you
you're
so
back.
much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Barry. What's going on?
Great. So let's say my association doesn't want to have a structural integrity reserve study. They know it's going to substantially increase assessments.
Yeah.
And they realize that even though there's personal liability on the board members, breach of fiduciary duty on the board members, none of those things are going to happen if no unit owner complains to the DBPR, the division, because
Right.
there's, as you have said before, it's self-enforcement. There's
Yep.
no enforcement mechanism by the DBPR. So if nobody complains, they know that nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And they also feel that, well, a seller of a unit has to get one of two things: either a structural integrity reserve study or a statement that one hasn't been prepared.
Right.
And they're willing to say, we're not going to have a structural integrity reserve study. We're just going to give a statement that it hasn't been prepared. And they also realize that their buyers of the units probably won't qualify for Freddie Mae or Freddie Mac backed loans. They don't
Exactly.
care. They realize what's going to happen to the assessments. Do you think there's a possibility that all those things might happen?
Oh, they're definitely going to happen. I don't doubt for 1 second that I'm going to be sitting here, in the near future, and somebody walks in and says the board is not listening to any of these things. I definitely believe that's going to happen. And the only option at that point is for that owner to hire an attorney, walk into court, and get a judge to issue an injunction. And that injunction, like you said, would not only be issued against the association itself. It would be issued against every single individual director because, like the statute says, it's a breach of fiduciary duty. So that unit owner will win. Not only will they get an injunction, but they will also get all their costs and attorney's fees back. And that's the only thing that can be threatened. That's it. If an association is not going to do it, the board is not going to do it because of the ramifications, and the assessments are going to double, triple. The only thing you can possibly do, if you're there and you want to make sure that the law is complied with, the safety requirements are complied with, you got to march into court. You got to get a judge to force it on the board. That's the only thing. And the only thing I can tell you is, not only will you win, but you'll get your attorney's fees and costs back. I think, quite frankly, if you can show the building is 25 years old or 30 years old, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they even got that letter from the municipality requiring them to do it, and they're ignoring it. By the way, you call the building official in your town as the first witness. You got the building official on your side. You put the building official on the stand, and he says, yes, they're not complying with the law. That's it. You're done. You win your case. So that's, yes,
Okay,
I do see that coming.
Nobody does it. Suppose we all say we're not going to do it. No unit owner brings an action. I have a suggestion. I'd like to, if I have a minute, I'll just ask you the question. Here's my suggestion. In Perez's earlier bill, he allotted $700,000 that had to go from the condominium trust fund to the division to hire more people to monitor compliance with the bill. Suppose you put in a glitch bill provision that says X amount of dollars specifically has to go from the condominium trust fund to the division to be used for the division to get copies of the cover page of the structural integrity reserve study.
Barry, I did a blog about this a couple of weeks ago. That's exactly what I suggested, sir.
Right.
Exactly. Take money, that extra millions of dollars that condominium owners put in, and it doesn't get spent and it gets swept into the general fund. How about we create a new job for the DBPR to do and monitor that all this is happening, because Barry's 100% right. If it doesn't get monitored, in a lot of cases, it's not going to get done. Barry, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for the kind words. I was hoping my first question back would be a softball, but not with Barry. It never is. How about Jean in Brevard?
Hey, Jean.
Hi, guys. Hi, Eric. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
How are you?
Great to see you back.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Great to see you back, Eric.
Thank you very much.
So my question is kind of a follow-up. I had spoken with you guys a couple weeks ago about a material alteration violation that I reported to the board and our management company with a conduit going through a attic area and down the side of one of our buildings. So I sent my certified letter to the management company, and of course I did get back a reply from them, as they should. I won't go into the detail of the letter because it's ridiculous. But the last sentence I'll tell you, because I just need your advice on how to kind of go from what to do from here. So what they basically say is, it appears that these alterations to common elements were necessitated by some necessary maintenance obligation on the part of the association, and it was impossible to perform that maintenance obligation without altering the common elements.
Okay.
And that's apparently all they're willing to basically tell me.
If that's the case, so I'm going to change my answer.
Yeah.
So repairs are typically not material alterations. Now, they went from taking pipes that were on the inside and put them on the outside, basically. If their testimony is going to be from their expert that there was no way to replace those pipes on the inside, the only way we can now do it is by putting it on the outside of the building. I would agree that that's not a material alteration. If it can't be done any other way, then there's a lot of case law out there that's going to say that's a repair. Repairs are never material alterations.
Well, didn't we have this question before you went away?
Yeah.
And it was because the neighbor wouldn't allow it to go through.
Right,
his
but
house.
that's something else.
Right.
That's something. If the neighbor simply won't allow it,
Oh,
sorry.
so this is a completely different one. But the same problem.
That's all it was.
Okay, if the neighbor won't allow it, then my answer is going to
Right.
change. Then it can
That
be
was-
put
yeah.
on the inside of the building, and the condo association
Yeah.
should force the unit owner. No problem. They can absolutely do that because they have an easement buying through any and all pipes that run through that unit. It's in the declaration, I guarantee it. And they should be forcing that unit owner to allow them in and make the change, period.
But I think they already did it. Remember that
Yeah.
guy they called? They
Yeah.
already did it
So
on the outside.
if their answer is we can't do it because one unit owner won't comply, though, then to me it's a material alteration.
Okay.
You understand? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, but yeah. So what do you make though of this? Is I mean, I'm just baffled. This is a letter from a management company, and
Well,
this is what they come back.
So
and tell me.
if they write
How
back
are
that
they
it's
held
impossible,
responsible?
hold on. If they write back that it's impossible, write back to them and call it a unit owner inquiry and say, why is it impossible? Is it impossible because one unit owner won't let you do the repairs by and through their unit? That's what I'd want to know. Let us know that.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll keep helping you out on this one.
Now, I know in Ireland the buildings are made out of stone from the 1400s, and
Right.
they have to put their pipes on the outside.
Really?
Yes,
That's amazing.
Yes.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, Gene. Just keep us informed. Keep us updated. How about we go to Michael in Boynton Beach?
Good morning.
Hey,
Thank
Mike,
you for
how are
taking
you?
My call. I have a strange kind of a question. I'm on a board in Boynton Beach, and of course we have elections coming up. I happen to think that there are a couple of board members currently sitting that are rather useless. I very much want them off of the board. And there are people who are not on the board now that are running as well.
Okay.
What can I do legally?
Vote.
If anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom you say the elections are
Wait a
coming
minute,
up. You
Eric.
Yeah, vote
Have
them
you
out.
ever heard of useless board members?
Never. Yeah. Look, I understand what you're saying, but the bottom line is if the people vote them in, then they're coming back on the board.
But the board can get rid of them.
Board
you're
members
on the
can't
board-
remove board members.
They can remove a president, right?
But they can change the officer positions.
Oh.
If, let's say, your president's out of control, you can vote to change the
Oh,
president.
I thought they could remove a
Just to-
board member. Okay.
No board members can be removed by the board.
How are they removed then?
By a recall.
A recall.
By a recall. Yeah.
I'm not asking that the board can do anything official. I'm saying me, as an individual board member, as an individual happens to be a board member, can I do anything legally to dissuade people from
Absolutely, you're allowed to campaign.
People?
There's nothing that prevents you from campaigning. There's nothing that prevents you from sending out your own information to people saying why you shouldn't vote for somebody. But I'd be clear and don't accuse anybody of a crime.
Don't say they've
or
done
anything
a
like
felony
that.
or
Don't say
something.
that they stole money because I tell you, if you don't have proof for that, you are getting sued. So be careful. You're allowed to get the word out that you don't like somebody on the board if you live in a condo. You don't lose your First Amendment rights.
They're useless.
If
Is
that's
that
what,
bad?
If that's
Can
what
you
you
say
want
that?
to say, no, you're not getting sued for the term useless. I certainly don't
said I
believe
was
that.
useless.
Yeah, I don't believe that. You don't get sued for that. That's your
Okay.
opinion. Board members, listen. You know that when you take the job, despite the fact that you may devote 10 hours a day, 7 days a week,
And not get paid.
and not get paid, someone's going to always say that they have a problem with you. You know that they when you take the job, you know that that's coming. That's part of the job. But be careful what you write. But you're allowed to exercise your First Amendment rights and say vote for this one or don't vote for that one. Hey, thanks for the call, Mike. Let's do this. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Taking your calls 877-850. Join us in the chat box on the YouTube channel. We'll be back right after this.
Is your condominium or HOA in need of accounting services? Look no further. Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg is one of South Florida's largest accounting and auditing firms, as recognized by the South Florida Business Journal, and is one of the few accounting firms uniquely specialized to provide accounting services to their growing condominium and homeowner association clientele throughout Florida. With primary offices in Aventura and Boca Raton, satellite offices in Naples and Orlando, and a professional staff of 65, Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg is prepared to meet the needs of any condominium or HOA in the state. The professionals at Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg also have experience working with timeshares, cooperatives, hotel condominiums, mixed-use buildings, and ancillary operations like restaurants, spas, and country clubs. Put their 25 years experience in your corner. Gerstel, Rosen & Goldenberg, 305-937-0116. That's 305-937-0116 or grgcpa.com.
Someday, you will need insurance. And for that day, you'll be glad you wrote down Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. Why? Because Insurco virtually insures everything. They're a full-line insurance agency that'll put together the best possible coverage and premium for almost anything. Need homeowners or condo insurance? Call Insurco. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call Insurco. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call Insurco for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is Insurco. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206. 954-846-1206. That's 954-846-1206.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack & Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack & Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack & Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack & Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack & Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association. Welcome back to the second half hour of Condo Craze and HOAs here on 850 WFTL. Eric hasn't been here for a little while, so don't wait to the end of the show to call and ask your question. Do it now. The number is 877-850-8585. Lots going on in the condo and HOA world.
Phones are flooded, but I want to go to the chat room on the HOA channel. How about we go to Joan? Joan writes in, if a vendor has been voted on by the board to replace a roof and the contract is never signed, can the board refuse to get quotes from at least two vendors before deciding who they intend to go with? Good question. So they voted on the contract, and now they are they going to go with this person, and they refuse to get quotes. So if you live in a condo, right, and you want to do work that exceeds 5% of the budget, you got to engage in competitive bidding. In a condo, 5% again of the budget, competitive bidding is required. In an HOA, 10%. If what you're going to do exceeds 10% of the budget, you got to engage in competitive bidding. So, Joan, that's the answer to your question. They got to engage in competitive bidding. Eric writes in and says, "Hi, Eric. I hope you're feeling well." Thank you, Eric. Ruth says the same. "Hi, Eric. Hope you're feeling better." John writes in, "Good morning," and says, "I live in a condo that tows. If the posted signs are not to code or their trucks have no signs, would that be illegal towing? Would the community have to refund everyone's money?" Now, in general, condos and HOAs have to be careful when it comes to towing. Number one, it should definitely 100% be somewhere in, at least in your rules and regulations, that say violations of parking rules and regulations will result in a car being towed. That's number one. I want it in the rules. Number two, the statute requires certain signs to be posted in your community, and the signs have to be certain height, a certain distance from the entrance of the community, I believe, certain size letters, and it also has to say what happened to your car if it did get towed, who do you contact, etc., so that you have the ability to get the car back 24/7. And if the signs are not correct and the condo or HOA is towing, or I'm going to go with this, if the condo never passed a rule that authorizes towing, if the car gets towed, then I'm going to say, that unit owner who gets his or her car towed, they would be entitled to sue and get the money back.
So it's not in the docs? You have to pass a rule?
If it's not in the docs, and you also didn't pass a rule, but you towed somebody's car, then I would say, yes, you absolutely need to refund that person's money. Yeah, that's my opinion. Let's see. Bob says, hi. Gigi says, glad to see you back in the saddle. Jerry writes in and says, I attend Zoom board meetings and property manager does not allow us to talk or read our questions to the board. Is this acceptable? Absolutely not, Jerry.
Why?
Gerald. Bottom line is, just because it's a Zoom meeting does not mean the unit owners get to talk. The unit owners absolutely get the right to talk on any agenda item. And if your manager isn't allowing that, your manager can get in trouble, number one. Your manager can, quite frankly, have a claim against his or her license.
Can you control, when you're on a Zoom call, can you control everyone else's audio and mute them all? You can mute them all.
And somebody,
of course they love
somebody
that.
raises their hand, they put the little hand figure comes up, and then you click on it and you unmute their microphone. So absolutely.
So they must love that.
Yeah, you cannot mute everybody simply because it's a Zoom call. You get the right to speak.
Okay.
Dr. Franco writes in, hi, Eric, wishing you all the health and happiness. Thank you, Doc. Gary writes in, look at this one. My headless, alcoholic, psychopathic, gay turtle loves your show, and he's bipolar too. I think Gary signed into the wrong show. Isn't it like a psychiatric show that follows this one that Gary needs?
Headless
Yeah,
turtle?
headless, alcoholic, psychopathic, gay turtle loves your show, and he's bipolar too. Gary, you need help, but I appreciate the fact that you tuned in. How about we go to Karen in Pompano?
Hello.
Hey, Karen, how are
Hi,
you?
Karen. Don't you just hate that they call everyone that's awful, Karen?
Karen, how are you?
I'm okay.
Karen, you
I
ever
just
get
wanted
teased
to
because of
know,
your name?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever got teased because of your name? Have you ever been called a Karen? No? Oh, Karen Curtis has certainly been.
Oh, yeah.
All right, how can we help?
I can barely hear you.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, here's my question. This morning, I understand and I see that our clubhouse is being, all the furniture is being cleared out. I don't know of any posting or anything that has been, none of the owners have been informed of this situation where they're clearing out all the furniture, everything out of the.
Well, why are they doing it?
Is it a wedding
Wait,
reception?
Are they taking the furniture and throwing it out and replacing it with new furniture?
They're putting it out. They're getting what do you call it? A company to come pick it up. All the chairs, all the tables, everything.
Okay, so is this a
cleared out.
condo or an
Even the
HOA?
window treatment.
Is this a condo or an
I'm sorry,
HOA?
it's a condo association.
Okay.
Mhm.
So sometimes you should look for, in your declaration, words about capital improvements. Like when you're changing furniture, that probably is considered a capital improvement. And see in the declaration of condominium if the board has the ability to make capital improvements to the property. And if so, is there a financial limit on their ability to make capital changes?
But they should send out an email that they're
There's
doing
no
it.
question that should be posted on an agenda for a board meeting to do all these things. But, we want to find out, why they're doing it. Then you can absolutely look at your declaration, find out if they have the ability to do it, number one. And then you can send, like we always say, send a unit owner inquiry asking, why was the furniture removed on this date and replaced? And they're going to write back to you that it's old and it simply needed to be replaced. And the board does have some authority in that regard when it comes to, I think, capital improvements, capital additions. So take a look what it says in your declaration before you go nutso and see what it says. And if the board has the authority, ask them, though, why it wasn't put on the agenda for a meeting. Okay? Karen,
I
thank you
agree.
for the
Yeah,
call.
we had no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
Ask them why. Mike in Palm Beach. How are you, Mike?
Mike?
Good morning. Hello?
Yes, how can we help,
Are you
Mike?
hearing me?
Yep.
Yeah, a couple questions. I'm new for Condo and board. Could the board, how much board can increase your HOA, number one? And question number two, do owners need to vote on a budget for increase? Could you do a budget for half a year?
Okay.
I think it will be
I think I understand your question. Your board passed the budget. You're probably upset with the amount of the budget and how much your assessments went up. And you're thinking, wait a minute, the unit owners didn't vote on this increase. Well, guess what? Unit owners have no say in preparation and passage of the annual budget. That is a decision of the board of directors, and I say this all the time. And you would wish that the statute clarifies this, and it really doesn't. And I think some cases out there would support my position that says the board's obligation is to simply pass a budget that pays all the bills, period. You know, there's some language in some declarations that say, well, the board can't pass a budget that makes the budget go up more than 10% in 1 year. Well, suppose the insurance goes up by $200,000. What is the board supposed to do? Of course they have to pass a budget that exceeds the 10% limit. And quite frankly, do I believe they have the power to do that? Absolutely, despite anything in the documents to the contrary, because the documents themselves and the statutes themselves require those board members to keep the property up to date, to keep the property insured, and to pass a budget that pays all the bills. So when you read them together, it's somewhat contradictory. And I'm going with the board has the obligation to pass a budget to pay all the bills, and no, the unit owners have absolutely no say in that regard. But we got to take our final break of the hour. Taking the calls, 855, and taking your questions on the Condo Craze and HOAs channel on YouTube. We will be back right after this.
Is your home or condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly prepare your home and condo and then use only the highest quality paint products. After many years in the painting industry, PD Painting has achieved a reputation for always delivering a reliable and professional finish. PD Painting is fully licensed and insured and offers a 7 to 10-year warranty. Their technicians are expert craftsmen. Let PD Painting handle all the details and then sit back and watch them restore your property and bring back that brand new look and feel. Need a service call? PD Painting will be there on the spot. Need financing? PD Painting can offer that too. Call PD Painting at 888-416-3204. Again, that's 888-416-3204. Go to the website pdpaintinginc.com. Need painting done in your home and community? Contact the experts at PD Painting.
This message is for anyone who has taken on the important responsibility of becoming an officer or director in a homeowner or condominium association. It is also for the management companies who work closely with these caring people to make sure things are done the right way. Hello, I'm Gil Pomar, South Florida Regional President for Center State Bank, now the second largest bank based in Florida. Our bank, Center State Bank, has an amazing team of professionals who are exclusively dedicated to the homeowner and condo association market. Your job is not easy. There are repairs and new projects that need financing. There are legal and social issues that need to be understood. There are also technology and servicing issues that your residents want to be improved. Why not choose a bank that knows this business backward and forward? Why not have a local banker who will meet with you face to face whenever it is convenient for you or your board? Center State Bank has over 2,000 associations as customers for a reason. Please give us a chance to earn your business. Call Terry Russo at 954-633-1666 to make it happen. Center State Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion. Or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
To the final segment of Condo Craze and HOAs here on 850 WFTL. Eric's been out a couple of times, so we wanted to get to the phones immediately. If you have a condo or HOA question for him, 877-850-8585, or you can go to our YouTube chat box, Condo Craze and HOAs on YouTube. We're live.
I liked what George just wrote in on the chat board in regards to the gay turtle. Gay psychotic turtle.
Yeah.
Remember a few months ago when someone called in and asked about the sexual activity going on in their building? Eric reminded them that this show is about condos, not condoms. Great email, George. I like that. Let's go back to... Let's go back.
That's the explanation.
That's the explanation right there. Let's go back to Deborah. A real question. Deborah, Eric, please explain if the new laws for HOAs on rentals overrides the declaration if it doesn't have anything on rentals. Deborah, this is a great question. So here's the laws basically on HOAs. Really quick. At least one provision of law. The association can now pass a law that prohibits long-term rentals, let's say, or prohibit you from renting your unit, period. The HOA can do that, vote on amending the documents. But just like condos, it won't apply to anybody who doesn't vote in favor of the amendment to the declaration. And there's some other restrictions that automatically apply no matter who votes in favor. Even if you don't vote in favor, if they want to prohibit short-term rentals, Karen, like you said, to
Airbnb,
to kick out Airbnb, even if you don't vote in favor of Airbnb, prohibiting short-term rentals, it's going to apply to you anyway. So Deborah wants to know, wait a minute, hold on a second, right? Suppose I moved in and the declaration, at least now, doesn't say anything, but we have this statute. But there's another issue you need to think about, Deborah. What about whether or not your declaration has Kaufman language, right, as amended from time to time language? Because no question in my mind that if your declaration does not have as amended from time to time language, and you had absolutely no restrictions on renting your unit when you moved in, right, and the declaration does not automatically incorporate future statutes, then this new statute does not apply to you. Why? Because it would take away your substantive right to rent your unit. It would take away a real right, the ability to make money, the ability to rent out your unit. So, Deborah, I would say the first thing you want to look at is whether or not you have Kaufman language in your declaration if you're in an HOA. Most HOAs do not have Kaufman language. So this is a great argument that this statute does not apply to you, and that's how I would see it interpreted in a court of law. How about we go to John, back to the phones, John and Dania. Hey, John.
Yes, good morning, Eric and Karen. I'll be very quick about this.
Hey, John. Wait, John, before you start.
Yes.
I'm back. I got your settlement funds in, buddy. I owe you a lot of money.
Fantastic.
I can't. I'll be back this week, and you'll get what I owe you.
Holy smokes, that's big.
Yeah, that's good news. How are you, John?
Thank you, sir. And by the way, real good for everybody out there. If you need legal help, this is the man to call. Living proof.
Thanks, John.
Right here.
Thanks, John. Much appreciated.
Okay. Anyway, no, absolutely. Thank you, Eric. I can't thank you enough for all your guidance and help. Just a couple quick questions real quick, but before I get started, if anybody out there cares, Governor DeSantis is appearing today at 1 p.m. at Wings Plus in Coral Springs.
Oh, really?
So let me just leave that
Wings
out there.
Plus,
okay.
Yay.
Yes, today at 1 o'clock he'll be there. Okay, Eric, quickly, overages from year to year on, on the monthly maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay, in both condos and HOAs, the overages go back to the homeowners, or they go back to drop the amount charged.
That is absolutely the way I see it, John. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Number two, Violations Committee, and I know you've touched on this before, so forgive me, Eric. Violations Committee is CEC or Violations Committee. Their role is to do one thing and one thing only, correct? And
yes.
Is that to uphold
or vote in favor of the fine imposed by the Board of Directors, or cancel the fine 100%. They do not have the ability to mitigate the fine.
Okay, so they can either vote in favor of it, they could vote to cancel it, and that's it.
Right, correct. That's it, one or the other.
Okay, so
there is no mitigation.
It's one. Right, they're not there to argue the case. They're not there to make a decision on the case. It's either you would force the fine or you don't enforce the fine.
Correct. That's exactly right. That's the whole authority of the Violations Committee after the board has done their thing.
Right. So it's one or the other. That's very simple. They're not there to discuss it, to talk about it, or anything like that. It's one or the other.
One or the other. Okay.
Thank
you, John. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Eric, I want to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to know what you did to win him all that money.
Can't talk about his case, all the details on the air, but let's just say he had some problems with his board.
Got it.
Okay,
Yay,
we got the board in order.
Oh my God,
How
you're
about,
the best.
we got a Donata in Miami.
Donata.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you, Donata. How are you?
Don't forget your family needs you very much.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you. How are you, Donata? What's going on?
Okay, in a 12-unit, I have two questions.
Yeah.
In a 12-unit condominium, they pretended it was 10 units and passed an amendment changing the elections and voting system. Is there a statute of limitation for this amendment? That's one.
Yes. Okay.
The other
So
one
wait,
is
hold on.
your
Let's take it one at a
staff.
time. Donata, let's take it one at a time.
Okay.
When you say there was an amendment, when was that amendment recorded?
Oh, a long time ago.
Okay. So there's
But
case
I
law
only
out there.
found out that it's illegal. I only found out that it's illegal recently, and then I confirmed it these days also.
Okay. So I will tell you that there's case law out there that says once an amendment to the declaration is recorded for 5 years, that's it. Can't challenge it. Statute of limitations has expired.
Oh.
Okay?
Even if it's election.
Correct. That's it. You cannot challenge that provision. It's in your deck.
The other one is even better. It was passed an amendment that if there is a litigation between unit owners and the association, even if the unit owners wins, they have to pay the association lawyers' fees.
Whoa!
I can't. No, I
There's
see that. That's
justification for that.
now that's void on its face. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
think that's void. What's called void ab initio. I can't imagine that would be upheld. Like on that one, I can't. I don't care how long that statute that provision is in the deck. I would think that's void ab initio. It violated the statute when it was recorded. I'll guarantee it, because that statute awarding attorney's fees to the winner has been there probably since I'm practicing. How long is that amendment there?
Oh, more than 6 years.
Okay, but that amendment is void, what's called void ab initio. It's void from the beginning because you're recording an amendment that violates a Florida law. It violates the statute. So on that one, I think you have a right to challenge. Okay? So you're saying even if you lose, you have to pay the attorney's fees of the association? No, I can't imagine that ever being upheld in a
Nice
court of law.
try.
Good try, but I don't think that will work. Donata, I'm so sorry, but we got to get 3 calls in the next 5 minutes, and we got Doc in Boca. How are you, Doc?
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Doc.
Terry.
We got to go fast.
I got timed out on your last live broadcast.
Okay.
I called in reference to a person who's on the board who is running a business out of his house,
Right.
which is illegal.
Right.
I wrote to the lawyer of the condo. I wrote to the board. I wrote to the maintenance company, and I never got a decent reply from them. Is there any option I can make to get this up to a
Yeah, you might not like
to
the
get
option,
it
but the
straightened
option,
out, in other words.
but the option is to actually file a lawsuit against the owner for breach of contract, breach of the declaration of condominium for running a business out of her house. Take pictures, line up your witnesses, and that's really your only. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do I have to file that in the court or just?
No, that goes to court. Suits between unit owners don't go to
That goes to
arbitration.
court?
You're going straight to court, my friend,
All right,
and,
so-
and you're asking for injunctive relief. And if you hire an
So
attorney,
bringing
attorney's
up,
fees.
I'm sorry. Bringing up on the floor is meaningless, right?
Well, if your board won't do anything and it's having some effect on you and you can't stand the fact that she's running a business out of her unit, then the only thing you can do is file a lawsuit against her for a breach of contract and injunctive relief. And a court, if you can prove it, that she's violating the deck, a court will order her to stop and award you attorney's fees and costs if you so hire an attorney. Okay? Doc, we got to
Okay.
keep this moving. How about
and
we
the
go to
lawyer-
Kathy in Pompano? Kathy, quickly. How are you,
Yes,
Kathy?
thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Very well, thank you. We just received an email saying that we're going to be voting on having pooled,
Pooled reserves? Okay.
instead of line item reserves. I'm very afraid of that. Your take.
In a minute, it's really difficult to talk about whether or not it's better to have pooled reserves or line item reserves. Big difference between the two is that in pooled reserves, you can use any of the categories that you're reserving for to fix any of those categories. Where in a line item reserve, if you don't have enough money to fix something, right? Let's say you don't have enough money to fix the roof. Can you borrow, let's say, from paving? No, you can't. Not without a vote of the unit owners. So that's why a lot of communities switch to pooled reserves.
I understand that. So
now,
let's say we have funds in a reserve for a roof, and
Right.
they've used it for something else.
well, if
That's a problem,
you
isn't
can
it?
do it
Especially
if
with
you
the laws
switch.
coming up?
You can do it if you switch to pooled reserves, and I think, quite frankly, that can be done by a vote of the board. So
Well, I'm worried that could eliminate our
okay.
reserves.
Just
when
so
we
you
need
know,
them for something.
talk to me about your condo. How old is it?
70s. It was.
Okay, and is it more than
yeah,
2 stories?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, we're in that HOA bit.
wait, you're a condominium or an HOA?
We're a condominium.
Okay, so I will
We're a
tell you
condominium.
that starting December 1st, 2025, December 1st, 2025, not too far away, 2 years from now, you will not be able to use pooled reserves for any of the items in the structural integrity reserve study.
So you have to set aside extra
right,
money.
so worse comes to worse, right? Worse comes to worse. This will be in place for 2 years, and the
Okay.
budget that goes out January 1st, 2025, that budget will contain fully funded reserves, and it will be line item reserves. It will not be pooled reserves. So hang in there for a little bit of time. Worse comes to worse. Let's wrap it up with Lisa in Parkland. How are you, Lisa?
Hi. Okay, I know you're a time crunch there, so to make a long story short, I just moved my father into a condominium in Kings Point in Delray, and there's a 6-inch step to get into the unit, which I did not realize when I purchased it for him, and he has trouble manipulating. He uses a walker, and I asked for permission to put a riser out front, a temporary riser. They said no, it's a tripping hazard. So then I said, well, what if I get a professional to do it?
30
and
seconds.
I'll make sure they're licensed and insured
Yeah.
and all that goodness, and I'll even pay for it. And they said
Okay,
no.
quickly,
It's
let me
against
say
the law.
this. I think what you need to do is put it in writing. Tell them exactly what you want to do. Tell them that you'll pay for it, and you're asking for a reasonable accommodation. If they say no, even if you're willing to pay for it, then I think you potentially have a cause of action in a state court or even a federal court, okay, for the association's failure to accommodate your father.
Right.
But on that note, I got to wrap up the show. What a great honor to be with everybody. I feel so great to be back. And if, of course, you need legal help during the week, give Glazer and Sachs a call, 954-983-1112.